welcome to the Global Health Summit 2016. I'm Carrie Tepedino. I'm your host of this event, and this whole event is surrounded on and based on transformational weight loss, mindset, self-love, because I know how hard it is to have an eating addiction, to be overweight. I was in that place for a long time, and it's no way to get lasting results. So we have brought today an expert who I know so many of you need, Dr. Shel, and she is speaking to us today around hormones and the whole intricate connection between hormones and your weight. So thank you for being here.
Of course. It's my pleasure, Carrie. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I know that you're really passionate about your work. This is something I know. Can you bring everybody up to speed as to why you're doing the work that you're doing today and why you're so passionate about it? And then let's just dive into this conversation.
You bet. So, you know, a lot of us go through things personally, and that really shakes us up, and that gets us even more so passionate about different things. So for me, I'm a board-certified OB-GYN, and I practiced traditional OB-GYN, traditional women's healthcare for 10 plus years before I had my own children. So here I was, I had my kids, I had child number one, Zoe, and then child number two is what really hit me after Zaid was born, and he's now 12. When he was born, everything changed in my body, as it changes in most women's bodies. I started gaining weight that I just could not get rid of. You know, and I'm talking, I was about, you know, forget the pregnancy weight, because the pregnancy weight, it takes a while to get it off, but I just couldn't get it off. I kept gaining. And I gained literally 40-some pounds. Now, I was the OB-GYN, Carrie, that was always telling people 25 to 30 pounds, we're not doing this, because, you know, gestational diabetes, all of that. So I just went through all these changes, including weight gain, insomnia, depression, mood swings, hair loss. I was just losing hair by the bundles, and libido was gone. So many things were going on, and I thought, okay, what am I going to do? So I go to my OB-GYN, because of course, as you know, I'm practicing traditional OB-GYN then, go to my OB-GYN, and guess what I leave with? A prescription of Prozac and a sleeping pill. This is not what we know now was the answer. So I felt very misunderstood, if you will, because I knew I wasn't depressed. I just knew that it was my hormones that were doing this to me. And since then, I have changed my entire practice into functional medicine. So now it's all about holistic ways to repair and to restore the root cause of our symptoms. Weight gain is a symptom. We need to find out what is the root cause of that symptom. Otherwise, women will go into a yo-yo mechanism all their lives because we're not fixing what is underlying wrong.
Right, and I agree, and we say that all the time. The weight is a symptom of something deeper going on. And we talk a lot about mindset and the emotional mastery piece too, and how that plays into it. But certainly, like, there's most likely something going on physically. The hormones are a great place to look. So what would you say? Okay, so let me get into the shoes of all the women who are on this call with us today.
You bet.
And I know that they're chomping at the bit to ask you their questions. And they're thinking, I'm sure, they're saying, oh my gosh, I feel like I have extra weight around my midsection, and I feel like I'm in a fog. My memory's not as good. Absolutely. I too don't have my libido. Like, I know that's what they're saying. And then they're also probably saying, but where do I start?
Very good question, because that is the tough part. And again, if myself as a physician and an OB-GYN, a women's health expert, was with this big question mark, or where do I go? Of course, millions of women out there really feel at a loss. And they go to who they feel they should go to, which is their OB-GYN, and they get the same results as I got. So this is what they need to know. We all need to know, as women, we go through different phases of our lives. Different phases of our lives are intertwined with different symptoms, different conditions, and different hormonal balances. So let's kind of start with when we are in our 20s and 30s. So around that time, you know, we are going through our reproductive years, etc., and there are things that fluctuate when you get pregnant. Now, post-pregnancy, post-delivery, a lot of things happen with our hormones. Usually what you see in women in their 30s and 40s is something that we call estrogen dominance. I know you've heard of that, Carrie, but for the listeners who are not familiar with that, that is when your estrogen level stays pretty static, but your progesterone takes a big dive and it's in the tank usually. So what happens is you're completely off balance because you want to be in balance. And when you're in balance, everything's good. When you're off balance, when your estrogen's high, progesterone's low, you have symptoms such as mood swings, low libido, weight gain, water retention, irritability, insomnia, and so many other things go on in your body that you just simply don't understand. So what is something that women can do during that phase? And we'll sort of break it down a little bit based on what phase of hormonal imbalance they're going through. So in estrogen dominance, you want to try to raise the progesterone up, okay? So for women who are out there who are going through this, consider a few things. There is something called diindolylmethane. Diindolylmethane is a very important supplement that actually rebalances your estrogen progesterone because it decreases the amount of the estrogen metabolites, the bad ones, out of your body. So you become more balanced just by taking this supplement. For listeners, they can certainly find out information about it on different websites. They can go to drshel.com if they want to get information about it. But DIM is and it's natural. It comes from cruciferous vegetables. Very, very important.
So so can I jump in? So is it okay because you're referencing new moms a lot too. So is it okay if they're nursing to take this?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Because
I just want to clarify that.
That's a great clarification because all it is from natural sources, mainly broccoli and other cruciferous vegetables. Okay. And we know that this indole 3-carbinol, which is DIM, it actually really helps you balance it. So it gets you through the postpartum depression as well. Great. So it really is fantastic for that period. So during that period, you also want to know, do you need natural bioidentical progesterone? The best way to look at that is if the listeners have access to a functional medicine doctor, go and get a saliva test done. And I'm a big fan of saliva testing because it can really tell you what your tissue level of the different hormones are. So it will take a look at not just your estrogen and progesterone, also your testosterone, also DHEA, and most importantly, what you mentioned, mindset, okay, relaxation, getting that's your cortisol. Because as you know, with stress, and which woman do you know is not stressed, right? So with the stress comes elevated levels of cortisol. And you get to a point where you essentially don't have much cortisol left and you go into adrenal exhaustion. Right. So the saliva test can really reveal all of those insufficiencies.
Right. And then, of course, the heightened, the adrenal burnout and the heightened cortisol are affecting the thyroid, which affects the metabolism, right?
Great point.
Okay.
Great point. Absolutely. So they all, I always explain it this way. It's like you go to see a wonderful symphony. You have all these different music elements in it, but they all have to play together for the symphony to sound very poetic and musically inclined. So you've got your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA, your cortisol, your thyroid. They all have to work together because when one is imbalanced, so when you have estrogen dominance, your thyroid will not work as well. So you're absolutely right. Your adrenals will not work as well. So you really have to look at all of that. And when you talk about thyroid, you are so right because that is the centerpiece for your metabolism. Right? And you and I both know, and I hope that the listeners can learn this, that thyroid is so underdiagnosed. Subclinical hypothyroidism is in millions of women out there have that condition, but they are not diagnosed with it because the range that traditional doctors use is so very wide. You need to be optimal, and most doctors don't look for an optimal range. They basically say, well, it's within the normal limits, so you're fine. Well, doc, I don't feel fine. I'm gaining weight. I have no energy. I have constipation. I'm losing hair. My nails are brittle. My eyebrows are falling off. Well, but the numbers say you're okay. But it really doesn't, because I would say if the listeners are, really wanting to know some levels, first of all, they need to know that their thyroid is being evaluated in a more in-depth fashion. TSH, free T3, free T4, thyroid antibodies, reverse T3, those things have to be evaluated. And if their doctor is not evaluating that, please find a doctor that will and get you in a more optimal range. There are certainly natural things you can do for thyroid. There's a great thyroid support supplement that I offer to my patients that they can find out about. Iodine is very important for thyroid. Zinc and selenium, if you have Hashimoto's, is very important. Hashimoto's is, as you know, autoimmune thyroid issues. But with that comes a lot of weight gain because it's not functioning optimally. So don't settle for okay and mediocre. Get your body to an optimal state.
Right. And it's a really good point because even speaking in regards to North America, I should say,
Yes.
No matter where you are in North America, you can go to any lab across North America and they will have different ranges.
Sure,
And
absolutely.
so, yeah, it's not even
Consistent.
it's not consistent.
Yeah,
The
absolutely
markers.
not.
Yeah. I love that you brought up how iodine helps with thyroid. I used to be very hypothyroid on the range where it was supposed to
Yes.
yeah, like I was double. I was like a 6.02.
Oh
and
my gosh.
and I healed
Your
myself.
TSH.
Yeah, healed myself
Yeah.
naturally.
Good.
Thank
Good.
you. But I love that you brought up iodine because I would love for you to talk about, because I know like what I did is I incorporated seaweed into my diet.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Can you talk about how or what the women who are with us can do in regards to food as medicine if they have
Absolutely.
imbalances? I think that'd be really helpful.
Sure. So I think that's a great question. So let's kind of start with if they have imbalances. First of all, we want to try to go on a very non-inflammatory diet. Okay, so and that basically means you want to eat whole organic foods, as much raw food as possible, and cut out the things that are inflammatory. Processed foods, gluten, dairy, sugars, wheat, yeast, all of that is just inflammation going into our bodies. So when our bodies are inflamed, we cannot really produce adequate amounts of hormones. And even if we do, we can't absorb them. Our receptor sites don't work. So food as medicine is so key. Just like you said, seaweed is great. Try to do that. Your thyroid will work better. Broccoli, cruciferous vegetables, kale, other things that will help support your estrogen, progesterone metabolism as well as balance is really great. When you're going through menopause, you want to try to stay away from the red meats. That's going to increase your hot flashes and night sweats. You want to consider getting on some perhaps natural supplements if you do want to do supplements. We recommend a really great menopause support and a PMS support for women in their different phases of their lives. They have different elements. Black cohosh may be in the menopause support. PMS support, as well as the other one, have DIM, like I mentioned, diindolylmethane. If you think you can eat about 1 to 2 pounds of these cruciferous vegetables, you don't need to take the diindolylmethane. How many of us can do that, though? So we try to do a lot of it with food, and then if you need to supplement, then certainly supplement. Because as you know, during menopause, so just talking about the different phases, estrogen dominance around 30s and 40s. Then around, 50, 51 and a half is the median age for menopause. You hit menopause, which means not only the progesterone is declining, but the estrogen is now declining, as well as your testosterone, DHEA. A lot of women are deficient in these hormones. And if you think about it, if your testosterone is in the tank, what's going to happen? No muscle mass. When you don't have muscle mass, you're going to hold on to that body weight. You're going to hold on to the fat because you're not burning that fat at rest. The more muscle you have, because you might be great at working out, all your resistance work, exercise, eating healthy proteins, that's all fantastic. You want to eat those healthy proteins. You want to rebuild that muscle mass. Some women can do it naturally, absolutely. Other women might need a little bioidentical hormone replacement, But make sure that if you are looking at bioidentical hormones, you do seek the advice of somebody who utilizes that as an art form. It's not a one-size-fits-all regimen. You have to know what you're doing. We listen to the patients, and whichever practice they go to, they have to make sure the doctor listens to them. Not only looks at a piece of paper and evaluates it, look at the patient, listen to the patient, evaluate the symptoms, treat the symptoms, don't just treat a piece of paper. That's my biggest thing that I see in traditional medicine. Oh, the paper says you're fine, so here's some antidepressant. Well, no, I'm not fine. I'm not feeling fine. So talk to your practitioner and make sure you find someone that you can really connect with and relate to. I think that is extremely important when it comes to any kind of hormonal imbalance. For thyroid, like I said, make sure that the doctor looks for autoimmune thyroid issues. And you probably know this as well as I do. Most traditional doctors don't even look for thyroid antibodies.
Right.
I don't know if your doctor ever looked at it before you did it yourself.
I specifically asked for it. And,
exactly.
Right. And because I did my research myself, I actually have a relative who is in the pharmaceutical industry, and I was feeling really depressed, and I was like, it was hard to get out of bed, and I was fatigued.
Yeah.
And of course, what she said was, I think you need an antidepressant. And I was like, I mean, maybe, and there's nothing wrong with that if that's what people need. But that's when I really started to, for that, I said, I'm going to figure this out. I want to at least see what's going on. And there's a lot of, we're both really encouraging each and every one of you who are on this call with us today, get the information you need that feels really good to you and have your trusted resource. And yeah, absolutely.
So important. And I'm so glad you brought up food, because when you have gut health issues, whether it's leaky gut, whether it's inflammatory gut, the gut is so important in losing weight.
Yes.
I have patients, if I do nothing with them but do a couple of things, I change their eating program completely. And I try not to call it a diet, because it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle.
Exactly.
It is eat your actual foods, eat for health, eat for healing. And so that's what we do. So I place them on a very non-inflammatory diet. I oftentimes start them with a 14-day detox. And I love a 14-day detox because, first of all, it took me years and years and years to really, come up with the detox that I think is the best. And once I came up with that, when I give it to my patients, it automatically cuts out all the inflammatory foods, cleanses out their liver, their kidneys, their gut gently. They're not sitting in the bathroom all day long. And so patients really love that. Once they are able to do that, then I also get them on probiotics, protease, and digestive enzymes. The reason I do that is because I think it's very important for us to have the appropriate enzymes to digest the food, but a very high quality one so it doesn't have fillers. Probiotics, because as you know, we grew up in a society of antibiotics, as well as all of these issues around us where we're just consistently getting exposed to yeast. We need to put the healthy bacteria back into our bodies and get rid of the unhealthy bacteria.
Right.
And protease, because it decreases and kills that inflammation. So those are the three things that are sort of my go-to things. I also make sure that the person I'm seeing is not, quote, constipated. Now, you might ask somebody, hey, are you constipated? And they might say, no, I go at least twice a week. Well, that's not what you want. So now I don't even use that word. I just say, do you empty your bowels at least once or twice a day?
Right.
And so you really have to kind of get to the point where I want the listeners to understand, if your gut is unhealthy, it's going to be tough for you to lose the weight and keep it off. So really start with stress, mindfulness, reaching within, getting rid of that stress so that your cortisol is balanced, and clean up that eating habit, and really eat for life, eat for healing, and try to start healing that gut, because then everything will become very easy. Right. So that is a huge thing that I do. And, if the listeners want information, they can go to my website. There's a lot of information about that. But it's so important. Gut health, I can't tell you. And you know this.
Yes.
It's so important.
So one thing that I've noticed with a lot of our clients is they also they need to go into, we do some HDL therapy with them. So just to explain to our listeners, so HCl just means hydrochloric acid, which is basically your stomach acid. And if there's an imbalance, like if it's too high or too low, then your gut health again is going to be impaired.
Yes.
It can also lead to GERD or acid reflux or other conditions. Have you noticed, or what is your take on tackling, like, do you guys do HDL therapy as well? And what is your whole take on how that's affecting, weight and like the food fermenting in the body, maybe not being
Yes.
broken down and assimilated and affecting weight? What's your whole
Absolutely.
take?
Well, I think I completely agree with you. I think it's very important. The balance of your pH is very important for the gut, and that's a huge part of keeping that inflammation away.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to have the gut respond and perform the way it's supposed to perform. Because look, let's face it. If you're putting food in your body and you're not able to metabolize it, if you're not able to break it down, if you're not able to digest it, you're not going to get rid of the byproducts the way that you need to.
Right.
And so it's going to affect your toxicity levels, which is kind of why I start with the detoxification, and then I make sure that they are maintaining a good, healthy balance with their pH as well as with what they're putting into their foods. Water, hugely important. Hydration, that's something that, people take for granted and just say, well, I don't really like it so much. This is what's going to detoxify you. This is super important. I always tell them, at least, depending on what your weight is, etc., just take your weight in pounds, divide it by 2, and that's a very easy way of knowing how many ounces of water you absolutely need as a minimum.
Right.
Add another 20 ounces, okay, you're good now. So that's kind of what I say is that is so important, because that is going to affect all your hormones. And I mean, if we can just jump right back to hormones, if you're okay with that.
Sure.
When your gut is unhealthy, you can't really process your hormones. Your receptor sites are not going to work. So if your gut is unhealthy, that'll lead to more estrogen dominance. If your gut is unhealthy, you will not be able to get rid of those symptoms that you're having with hormonal imbalance. So this is such an important deal that it all works well together, because I will never start somebody on bioidentical hormones without simultaneously starting to heal their gut. It works hand in hand. Similarly, I will not start them on bioidentical hormones without addressing their thyroid, without addressing their adrenal glands. These are my basic elements that I start with. I always start with a saliva test or a blood test to check their hormones, a huge questionnaire, 13 pages of a questionnaire that I start with, because I want to know everything. I want to know everything about my patients. I want to know what their gut is doing, what their other symptoms are, what their energy level is, what their stress level is, what kind of lifestyle do they have. Everything goes into it, because even meditation and yoga is a huge part of a weight loss program.
Yes.
To me, that's a lifestyle. You have to have that as part of your lifestyle. Otherwise, the weight is not going anywhere. If your adrenals are not doing well, you're going to live in a constant mode of fight or flight. Mm-hmm. When you're in a constant mode of fight or flight, your body's going to hold on to the biggest source of energy. And the biggest source of energy it knows of is fat. So if your adrenals are wiped out or just overworking, your fat is going to stay on your body, probably in the midsection more than anywhere else. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what we go through, right? Women in our 40s, 50s, midsection, that's what you hear all the time. Mm-hmm. And that's not stress. We got to take time for ourselves, carry time.
Yeah.
Shelena time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's super important. And we always say, oh gosh, I don't have yet another 20 minutes a day to meditate or be mindful or do yoga. Well, we do. You know why?
You don't have another option.
You don't. Mm-hmm. You don't. Because the rest of the day after you do that will be that much more productive.
Oh, it'll be so much better. I'm actually, my son just turned 1. And
oh my gosh, congratulations.
Thank you. And even with him being 1, and actually you'll appreciate this. I'm in my 40s. I hadn't met the right guy yet, so I actually went to a fertility clinic. So I'm a single mom of a 1-year-old.
Oh,
and
wow. Good for you.
Thank you. Best decision I ever made. And even though I run a successful business, I'm a single mom of an infant, I still put my health first, and I still take my time, because I know if I don't, then I can't be there for my son.
No, you're so right. You are so right. And this is something that I try super hard to explain to my patients, that when you fly on an airplane, what is the first thing that a flight attendant is going to tell you? In the case of an emergency, the oxygen mask goes on you first,
Yep.
and then on the child next to you.
Exactly.
Because if you're not well, they're not going to be well.
Exactly.
So it's so crucial to take care of yourself. And, and I have a eight-step approach to wellness. So it's my sort of 8-step wellness program. And one of the steps is stress management, meditation, and yoga. Because it's super important for that to be a big part of what we do in our lives. Because that'll affect your cortisol, that'll affect your weight, and God knows we women are concerned about our weight, aren't we? Which is why you're doing this summit. I mean, unfortunately, it's just a fact of life, but we don't have to be concerned about our weight if we feel healthy and we're doing everything great. It'll resolve itself.
And then it becomes your new natural way of being.
Absolutely.
So I've been asking all the experts this one question, and I would love to know, what is your number one non-negotiable for yourself in regards to what do you do every day for you that is like it's your non-negotiable, and it keeps you at your weight, your health, your energy levels, your relationship to yourself, keeps your mindset in check. What is that one thing that you would like to share that maybe the women on this call would actually like to try on for themselves?
So this is a tough one because I kind of have two, but I'll pick one and I'll just kind of tell you the other one.
Okay.
So one non-negotiable for me, and we haven't talked about this yet, so I'm really glad you asked this question, is my sleep. And I'll tell you why that's important, because I've gotten to the point where if I don't have, and I feel very strongly about this for my patients as well, and for all women out there that are listening, you might think, oh, all I need is 5 hours. No. That's not what your body needs to heal. You need anywhere from 7 to 9 hours of sleep. My magic number is 8. I'm a different person if I sleep 8 hours. I'm a different person if I sleep 5 to 6 hours. I'm just not the same person. Sleep to me is when you're processing all your healing mechanisms, your growth hormone is actually being produced. You are actually stimulating your glands, your hormones, you're healing your body, you're detoxifying your body. And it's something that we in this generation and in this country, we take it very lightly. And I don't think we should, because sleep will directly impact your adrenals.
Right.
And your adrenals will directly impact your energy level, your immune function, your weight, your moods, your everything. And then you'll start getting sick and you'll gain weight and everything just spirals down. Let's just get some sleep. And of course, I don't have time for 8 hours of sleep. I got to get up early. I got to get the kids ready. I got to go to sleep late because I have to get the lunches ready. I got it. I have 2 kids. I run a very busy practice. I have aging parents. I have in-laws that live with me. I have it all, right? But I won't negotiate on that, because I'll negotiate on something else, but I won't negotiate on that. So that's very, very important to me. And I think that is a huge part of natural lifestyle management as well as weight management. I do strongly believe that.
Yeah.
And then I'll just throw in my second, if that's okay. And that's my meditation.
Yeah.
I do not compromise on my meditation. And I will admit, there are some days that I can only do 10 minutes. There are others I can do 40 minutes. But 10 minutes is my non-negotiable a day. And I ideally hit 30 to 40, but there are days that I can't. That's okay. I'll at least get my 10 minutes of me time, totally quiet, just go within, just have silence, just have relaxation. So those are mine.
I love those.
What's
are great.
yours?
Mine, well, sleep has, as a new mom, sleep has just like shot up as a higher priority.
Yes, of course.
Obviously. And my other one is exercise, but it's not exercise. Like it's part of who I am. If I don't get out and hike with my son, we live at the ocean, and so we hike at the cliffs in the morning, or I go swim laps. If I don't do that, or my yoga, I miss it.
Yes, absolutely.
I miss it. So it'd be sleep and exercise for me.
Yep. Yeah, I'm with you. And I wish if I had 3 or 4, that would definitely be there as well. And I think it's so important to just view that as this is my life.
This is my life. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm not doing this to lose weight. I'm not doing this. I'm doing this for health and sanity and happiness.
Exactly.
So I always, the book that I've written, so my book is called I Am Woman. And then the subtitle is Our Journeys to Health, Happiness, and Harmony. And, that's what it is. It's all about how are we going to be happy, harmonious, balanced, healthy? It's all about that. It's not about how am I going to be a size 0 or 2. It's not about that. It's about being happy and healthy and being balanced and feeling gratitude. Gratitude is super important. I see that with all my patients. We talk about it because I tend to spend 30 minutes to an hour with each of my patients. And to me, that's such a blessing because we really get a chance to connect. I'm not just writing prescriptions and getting them out the door like in traditional practice. We really get to connect. And so we talk about gratitude because that changes your attitude and everything changes in life when you are grateful.
Mm-hmm.
So that's huge.
Love and gratitude. It's like the highest vibrational frequencies. Well,
Absolutely.
I know that you have a free gift. I know that you have an ebook for all of our friends here on this call.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
I want you to explain it. So the link to her ebook, you guys, she's going to explain it. But the link is right there by her bio and her headshot. All you have to do is click that link, and you will be directed where you can grab your ebook. And can you share what that is with everyone?
Sure. So my ebook is called Get Your Life Back by Balancing Hormones. And in this ebook, I go much deeper into the different hormones, why they're important, what they do, and how it relates to all the different symptoms that we as women go through, and really try to explain each one of them individually and really explain how that gives you a very good sense of being balanced, healthy, happy, and harmonious. Awesome. So yes, it definitely goes deeper into the hormones.
Okay, perfect. And the hormones, like it is such an intricate connection to weight loss. Right.
So intricate, exactly. And if any of the listeners, want to read more about it, there's a ton of information about the hormones and the bioidentical hormones on my weight loss, and it's drshel.com, drshel.com. And just read and educate. That's what I would kind of say to the readers. To the listeners. Just educate yourself.
Yeah,
be your own advocate. If you have learned anything from this entire summit, be your own advocate. You know what you need. You know what you want. Don't take what just because a doctor has a white coat on doesn't mean that they know more than you do. You know your body. Take that information and take everything that you've learned and let them know, hey, doctor, I need to have you check me for boom, 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 boom. I'd like to do a saliva testing. I'd like to do a thyroid testing in depth. I'd like to check my cortisol. Ask for it. Now, some doctors may not be able to, and you can just, go get a saliva
another doctor.
Get another doctor, exactly. But be your own advocate. That is the most important thing.
I agree. Thank you so much for
you
as the white coat. I appreciate you saying that.
You bet.
Yeah. So everybody, try to think outside the box as well. Who else needs this information? Do you have an aunt, a sister, a best girlfriend, a cousin? Who needs this information as well? Please share the link to the Global Health Summit. This is a resource for you guys to be the happiest and healthiest version of you possible. Share the link to Dr. Shel's work as well, because the hormones are an intricate, connected piece to the weight loss formula, success formula. And on that note, thank you so much for being here, Doctor.
Absolutely. So thank you for having me, Carrie. You were awesome. And I hope all the listeners continue to spread the word that you are trying to spread for the women out there.
I appreciate that. And I will see everybody else tomorrow. Bye for now.
Bye. Bye-bye.